de Oliveira. Claudio Oliveira suffers from a rare condition affecting his muscular system that has left his head turned completely backwards and facing upside down, his limbs atrophied, and hands glued to his chest. Claudio was born with the condition identified as arthrogryposis multiplex congenita, which left all the doctors at the hospital stumped, utterly. They didn't expect him to live past 24 hours due to the rare and bizarre condition. Claudio is now 45, and he's lived life to the fullest from his childhood. Despite his physical condition making it difficult for him to get around, Claudio mostly lives by himself and does pretty much everything by himself. Number 9. Elizabeth Ann Velasquez. As a teenager, Elizabeth Ann Velasquez came across a video online that described her as the world's ugliest woman. Heart-wrenching and as shattering as it is, this wasn't the first time she was bullied for how she looked, nor was it her last encounter with bullies. Better known as Lizzie, Miss Velasquez was born with an extremely rare and bizarre congenital condition called Marfanoid progeroid lipodystrophy syndrome, affecting fewer than 10 people in the world. People like Lizzie and Abby Solomon are not able to gain body fat and usually suffer other symptoms due to the condition. A disproportionate growth and progeroid appearance with distinct facial features are among some of the more noticeable symptoms, which are also what makes them look different. Those living with this condition are often teased and become easy targets for much ridicule due to their unusual appearance. Lizzie has become known publicly through the media for having battled bullies her entire life. And she's also perhaps the most famous motivational speaker and anti-bullying activist. Number 8. Shyam Lal Yadav. No, Grandpa here didn't get run over by a reindeer, and neither is he a horned devil from hell. The 76-year-old grandpa you see here only suffers a rare skin condition that manifests as a cutaneous horn sprouting from the top of his head. The bizarre ailment started out as a mole-like growth on his scalp after hitting his head while at his farm a few years back. He managed to trim it down every time he went to the barber, but what he suspected to be a mole grew back extremely fast after each cut that he decided to let it be and seek medical care instead. Doctors identified his bizarre growth to be a keratinous skin tumor and explained that the horn-like protrusion was made of the same stuff that makes our hair and fingernails. Fortunately, these skin conditions, stomach churning as they appear, are mostly benign, meaning that they're not cancerous or life-threatening. Nobody wants to walk around with a 4-inch devil horn sprouting from their heads, though. Number 7. Amu Haji. This 87-year-old Iranian is labeled the world's dirtiest man, and for good reason. Amu Haji hasn't seen a bath in over 60 years. Well, he's been homeless for all those years, so that should explain it. But what makes Amu Haji's case different and odd is that he believes he'll fall ill should he take a bath. It's not just his personal hygiene that's wanting, but his dietary habits as well. Amu has been surviving on a daily diet of carrion, decaying dead animals. He smokes a lot, and when he can't find cigarettes to smoke, he fixes something from cigarette butts blended with animal droppings to satisfy the urge to smoke. Perhaps the only thing he does right is taking a gallon of water a day. But don't expect that it's clean drinking water. It really baffles many how this guy manages to live that long on such a repulsive lifestyle. Number 6. Francisco Domingo Joachim. Having the widest and most elastic mouth on the planet, Angolan Francisco Domingo Joachim takes his coke in a very original way. His mouth measures 6.5 inches across, unstretched. When fully stretched, though, it's another story altogether. The man can almost literally fit anything in his mouth, including an entire 330-milliliter can of soda placed sideways. Joachim was able to pop a total of 14 cans of cola in his mouth, all under a minute, earning him a Guinness World Record title for the world's largest mouth, and oddly, a befitting nickname that goes something like Jaw of Awe. Number 5. Woman of Kayan Lawi. The women from an ethnic minority tribe in Myanmar have an odd beauty practice that's as shocking as the reason they give for it. Young Karenni girls wear multiple brass coils around their necks, making the neck appear as if it was stretched, and the head as if it were floating upon a pedestal of gold. A girl would normally begin covering her neck in brass coils from about the age of 5, and more coils are added as she grows until her neck appears extraordinarily long. Why Karenni women practice this unusual coil-wearing custom and how it began isn't exactly clear, but it's widely believed to be a distinctive symbol of feminine beauty and display of prosperity, as their neck coils were from an alloy of silver, brass, or gold. Apparently, the unusual beauty practice began thousands of years ago with the unlikely love story of a Karenni warrior and female dragon. The tribe's folklore depicts the female dragon as the people's ancestral mother, and the neck rings were meant to help the women emulate the dragon mother's beautiful long neck. Number 4. Mitsuo Jesus Matayoshi. Holy Christ! This Japanese man believed himself, in some bizarre kind of way, to be the Lord Jesus Christ. Mitsuo Matayoshi was born on February 5, 1944, in Ganao, Japan, and became a private school teacher and preacher after graduating university in 1968. It wasn't until 1997 that he established himself as a politician and built his entire political campaign around a conviction that he was indeed the one and only God and Jesus Christ. Despite his best efforts to convince the people of Japan that he was the right leader for them, Mitsuo Jesus never won in any Japanese general elections. I guess people never really believed he was the Messiah to come. Unfortunately, and this is the quibble about it all, Mitsuo Matayoshi died in 2018, leaving his believers, if any, waiting on the third coming of the Messiah. Number 3. Jasmine Tri-Devil. If you're a fan of the 1990s sci-fi film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall, there's a real-life doppelganger of the three-boobed lady from the movie. Jasmine Tri-Devil got a boob job to have an extra breast surgically added, and it looks bizarrely natural. At first, people dismissed images of Jasmine showing the new appendage to be fake, but she confirmed that she actually got the third breast for $20,000. That's 4 times what you'd pay for most cosmetic procedures, but it's not the bill that will floor you. Rather, it's the reason Jasmine gave for getting the third breast. Apparently, Jasmine wanted to look unattractive to men because she was quitting from the dating game. What she did achieve, however, was the exact opposite, as it was unfortunate that some fellas aren't put off that easily. And in today's best pick, how would you have to look to survive a high-impact car incident? If you don't have extra nipples, you might want to observe road safety guidelines and perhaps just drive a little slower. Number 2. Meet Graham. He certainly looks different, perhaps a little too bizarre looking and unusual, but with hoofs like legs, a massive head, neck removed, and extra nipples. It turns out, Graham is a lifelike human-sized crash test sculpture designed as part of a road safety campaign for the Transport Accident Commission of Victoria, Australia. The campaign aimed to show motorists what they'd have to look like to survive a catastrophic car crash. And if you're wondering just how extra nipples will help in a car accident, Graham's designers explain the sack-like features line the model's ultra-thick ribcage to serve as natural airbags. In fact, every bit of unnatural characteristic you see on the crash test model was informed by an understanding of the physics behind high-speed, high-impact motor vehicle crashes and how the human body responds in such road crashes. This guy with a half a head warns kids not to drink or use drugs and drive, but that's just half the story. Carlos Rodriguez goes by the nickname Halfy after he lost a huge chunk of his head to a near-fatal car crash as he was driving high on booze and drugs. Yet even after the damning accident and perhaps a most astonishing countenance to serve as a constant reminder, Happy Carlos admits to using marijuana daily. Unfortunately, when a half-healed man can't take his own advice, something must be seriously wrong upstairs, pun intended. So much so, in fact, that a Miami County judge ordered Carlos Rodriguez's mental evaluation after he was arrested on arson and first-degree attempted murder charges back in 2016. And just a few years before his recent brush with the law, half-headed Carlos had been arrested for allegedly soliciting prostitution. His mugshot must have broke the internet. Alright, you made it to the end of the video. But hey, if you enjoyed it, be sure to smash that like button and leave a comment. Your engagement is what keeps our curiosity going. We have lots of fantastic videos that you'll enjoy. You can start by